Attorney General Merrick Garland came out swinging today against what he calls dangerous false narratives peddled by some on the right that the DOJ is weaponized against Republicans and former President Donald Trump.
I will not be intimidated, and the Justice Department will not be intimidated. We will continue to do our jobs free from political influence, and we will not back down from defending democracy.
Conspiracy theories reached a fever pitch last month with these totally, ridiculous accusations that the FBI tried to assassinate Trump during the raid at Mar-a-Lago. And actually, what they did is they took the standard language used on any search and they twisted it.
Individual career agents and prosecutors have been singled out just for doing their jobs. It comes as baseless and extremely dangerous falsehoods are being spread about the FBI's law enforcement operations. And it comes at a time when we are seeing heinous threats of violence being directed at the Justice Department's career civil servants. These repeated attacks on the Justice Department are unprecedented and they are unfounded.
The hearing comes as House GOP lawmakers are threatening to hold Garland in contempt over his refusal to turn over audio of President Biden's interviews with then special counsel Robert Hur. The transcripts have been turned over. These are related to Biden's handling of classified documents, Garland explaining his reasons for not doing so.
We have made clear that we will not provide audio recordings from which the transcripts that you already have were created. Releasing the audio would chill cooperation with the department in future investigations, and it could influence witnesses' answers if they thought the audio of their law enforcement interviews would be broadcast to Congress and the public.
Whatever you think of that, Garland says his prosecutors and law enforcement agents have gotten what he calls heinous violent threats because of conspiracy theories, and the argument that the FBI has been weaponized against Republicans, now leading to some of the same dumb defund arguments that the far left made in the wake of the George Floyd case. And hours after Garland sat down with lawmakers, House Speaker Mike Johnson announced a three-pronged plan to take on the Department of Justice via the appropriations process, legislation, and Congress's oversight authority.
All those things will be happening vigorously, because we have to do that, because the stakes are too high and because people are losing faith in our institutions. And that, at the end of the day, is something that should concern every single one of us. And I think it does.
That's true. People are losing faith. But is that because they're being told to lose faith? Meanwhile, House Republicans also attacking Garland over the selection of special counsel Jack Smith.
He was a guy, you had to bring him back from Europe. He worked at the ICC, worked at the World Court. He was the best pick for the most high-profile investigation ever.
He was independent. He was nonpartisan. He had never held a political office. He was never appointed in a political office.
Was he your first choice?
He had a long career as a career prosecutor.
Was he your first choice?
I'm not going to go into the questions.
Did you know him before you picked him?
I did not.
You never worked with him?
I did not.
Did you meet with him prior to announcing his selection and tell him what was going on?
Of course I did.
Did he ask for the job?
This is not a job I don't think anybody asks for. I'm sorry.
Now, I've said many times before that this weaponization argument doesn't really make sense because the DOJ sure seems to be targeting more Democrats than Republicans in the past few years. Starting with the president's son, Hunter Biden. Today, we're opening statements, the first witnesses in his criminal gun trial. His second trial on tax evasion gets underway in September, 2 months before the election. The weaponized DOJ really prosecuting the Democratic president's son as he seeks re-election. But that's just the beginning, right? There's also Democratic Senator Bob Menendez, the now suspended chair of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, facing a slew of charges in a major case involving bribery and allegations allegedly acting on behalf of foreign government. There's Democratic Texas Congressman Henry Cuellar, was indicted last month for an alleged $600,000 bribery scheme. Representative Cori Bush of Missouri under investigation for her use of campaign funds after she hired her husband for security services. There's also New York City Mayor Eric Adams, who's being investigated over alleged campaign finance violations. Former Baltimore City State's Attorney Marilyn Mosby, convicted by 2 federal juries for mortgage fraud and perjury. She's claiming she was prosecuted because she fought too hard for racial justice. There's former Democratic Congressman T.J. Cox of California, Karen Carter Peterson, the former head of the Louisiana Democratic Party, former Tallahassee mayor and Florida gubernatorial candidate Andrew Gillum, all charged on various counts relating to wire fraud and corruption. Well, Gillum was ultimately tried. The jury hung on some counts, found him not guilty on others. But Garland also fought back against attempts to tie the Department of Justice to the Manhattan DA's prosecution of Trump in the hush money trial.
General, you've told us that it's a dangerous conspiracy theory to allege that the Department of Justice is communicating with these state and local prosecutions against Trump. You can clear it all up for us right now. Will the Department of Justice provide to the committee all documents, all correspondence between the department and Alvin Bragg's office and Fonnie Willis's office and Letitia James's office?
The offices you're referring to are independent offices of state.
I get that. I get that. The question is whether or not you will provide all of your documents and correspondence. That's the question. I don't need a history lesson.
Well, I'm going to say again, we do not control those offices. They make their own decisions.
The question is whether you communicate with them, not whether you control them. Do you communicate with them, and will you provide those communications?
If you make a request, we'll refer it to our Office of Legislative Affairs.
But see, here's the
So now they're pushing another theory, that somehow because a former DOJ prosecutor named Matthew Colangelo now works for Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg, that's proof that the DOJ somehow orchestrated the prosecution of Trump in New York.
I did not dispatch Mr. Colangelo anywhere.
Well, do you know how he ended up there?
I assume he he applied for a job there and got the job.
But see, you know what?
I tell you, I had nothing to do with it. Manhattan District Attorney has jurisdiction over cases involving New York state law, completely independent of the Justice Department, which has jurisdiction over cases involving federal law. We do not control the Manhattan District Attorney. Manhattan District Attorney does not report to us. The Manhattan District Attorney makes its own decisions about cases that he wants to bring under his state law.
Remember, his Department of Justice passed on the same case that they're saying that he somehow had control over in Manhattan. And by the way, as much as some Democrats grandstand now in defense of the DOJ, the left has also jumped at the chance to claim witch hunt, political persecution when their side is investigated or indicted, as many of the people, by the way, I mentioned before have. Caught in the middle are men and women of law enforcement. The rhetoric has real-world consequences. The FBI director is in front of Congress again today, begging them not to defund the FBI, saying we need more law enforcement, not less, because we're under unprecedented threat from potential terrorists and unsecured border. It is everyday Americans who put on a badge, and yes, a gun, and who bravely stand between each of those threats and all of us every single day. They deserve our appreciation, not totally unfounded allegations that they are all corrupt.